I'm down to dunk.
And I'm down to dunk.
I'm down to dunk.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lindy Waters, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kenneth Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
Will you say this is Lou Dort and I'm down to Dort?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Cracklin Oat Bran?
Have you had Cracklin Oat Bran?
No,
No. Okay.
but it's healthy.
Are you a big oat brand guy?
I'm a big Oat Bran guy.
Okay.
I think I would switch it with Fruity Pebbles.
Okay, eat faster. Don't put as much in the bowl.
You have a gallon of milk I can also take home.
You don't have milk at home?
One cinnamon toast.
Okay.
Crunch.
Yeah. Cereal is great. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Hey, you're going to have to start over. Go.
One, 2, 6, 4, down, 2, dunk. You can find us on The Athletic and anywhere else you subscribe to your podcast. Go to theathletic.com/down2dunk and get The Athletic for $1 a month for 6 months. I am Luke, joined this morning by Andrew.
Slam through.
Taylor.
In the morning. Also, I'm going to do this. The boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. Boys are back in town.
I wonder if we could get the actual rights to that song.
And Jay.
It's Jay.
It's Jay.
Guys, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, dude.
You've been missed, man.
I took some time, traveled, just playing pickup basketball. But it turns out I suck. I'm so bad.
Learning the game.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's a hard game.
I thought I could make it to the NBA. I could not.
Yeah, Luke. The reason we hadn't talked about it is because Luke was trying out with a lot of
He was with the Blue for a little while.
Conflict of interest.
Isn't that kind of what he's basically? Isn't that what Lee Ellis is doing?
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's all.
It's
Same
our
thing.
version of Lee, right?
Yeah.
He's better than me.
Just not
What's
Australian.
it? Give an Australian accent.
Oh, we're shrimp in the bally.
It's the go-to. I think that's offensive for most Australians.
Is it?
What's offensive about it?
It's just, like what else you got that's Australian?
Fosters.
Okay, good. Outback.
Australian for big.
Australia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends.
The day guy.
We are in.
I just want to, that scene from The Office where Andy says, I wish that you knew that you were in the good old days. When you were in them, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we're at right now. We're in the sweet spot where expectations are low for this team.
Mm-hmm.
And they're outperforming those. Like, this may be the last time.
Oh, you're talking about the Thunder. I thought you were talking about us.
No. That was a while ago.
Wow.
It is a good connection, though. But here's the deal. This will be the last time where every single game, win or lose, it's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
We're playing with house money. It's what Tyler said in the podcast, which I thought was brilliant. Doesn't matter. Just enjoy the ride, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The Thunder are all over the media. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Shea, All-Star.
We don't know yet. Do we know yet?
He's definitely going to be an
Yeah,
all-star.
I mean, he got
Feels
enough.
like it's gonna be.
But he didn't. The
What was
starters
he,
get
fifth-
announced next
fifth in
week.
votes?
next Thursday. What?
Was he fifth in votes?
Fourth
yeah.
in guard votes.
Behind
guard votes.
Yeah.
Steph, Luka, Ja, and then Shea.
You know
But
what?
Shea and Ja were really
That's
close.
pretty crazy, though.
They're within like 50.
That Shea's already the fourth most popular guard in the West.
And they've been on the national
He's very likable.
stage once.
Yeah, it's like there hasn't been a lot of opportunity for people to know who Shea is.
People like him. They need to put him on national TV more.
Yeah, they do.
Because people really do people do enjoy Shea and they enjoy this Thunder team. Oh my gosh, they're gonna have to flex the Thunder in again
Mm-hmm.
before the end of the year.
Oh, they will.
At least
No
once.
question.
Yeah.
I'll put it over here.
Wow.
I'm not eating donuts,
That
man.
was fast.
Yeah, I
Give it to me then.
it's been a fun week where my good friend Andrew Schlecht has done 8,500 podcasts, but we do have a Twitter question.
The first question.
First question.
The first
I like
question
that.
comes from
Questions.
it was on purpose and not an accident.
Yeah.
It comes from Johnny Ho 34, who says it's about time Zach Lowe does an OKC segment. I could see the guest being McMahon, but how likely is it to be at Andrew K. Schlecht? I'm sure Royce would be pretty good. Put in a good word.
If you don't know,
Now you know, friends.
Andrew Schlecht, the one and only, was on the Zach Lowe Post podcast last night.
What up, Schlecht?
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
I just started it.
I
It's an
still don't
hour
believe
and a half because he
Yeah.
edited it. This is why it came out so late. Is he edited to add the Boston Golden State recap
Yes.
on it. So I was like,
yeah.
woke up this morning and I'm an hour and a half. It took me not that long to get here.
Mm.
Anyway, man. So if you want Thunder content,
It's out there.
is everywhere.
That's amazing.
But I can't not at least give you a minute to talk about being on the Low Post. We've talked about that, I think, verbatim on this podcast. Is like there's not a lot of other things to do podcast wise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny. On Saturday night, I can't remember where we were driving home from, but we were driving home and I was just like, talking to my wife. I was just telling her that Zach Lowe's talking about the Thunder a lot on his podcast recently. And he's probably going to have a Thunder segment. And I just really hope that he asks me. I said, I don't know who he's going to ask, but I just really hope that he asks me. And she's like, that's great. Like, she doesn't know who Zach Lowe is.
Mm-hmm.
What's that called when you put it out in the world? Like you
Manifest.
manifest it though. You were manifesting.
I manifested. And then it was the next day. It was like the next morning that he messaged me and was just like, hey, would you want to come on the Low Post? I was like,
I said, no, thank you.
yeah. No, try again next time.
And
Zach.
you screenshotted it and posted it as a flex.
Super busy.
Yeah, screenshot post, couldn't do it.
No thanks.
No, but he's just as nice a person as you would hope he would be, just as he is on the podcast. He's great. It was a great time. I still can't believe that it happened. It still like doesn't feel real at all to me. I took far too many notes beforehand. I have like this like whole doc.
I wrote
just
a small
like
book.
from like top to bottom about like everything.
Yeah, that's not one you come into haphazardly.
No. But yeah, it was great.
That's awesome.
It's very fun.
Although some of his guests do. Not you.
Yeah, I did.
You're not jaded yet.
I did have to correct Zach very early on in the podcast because he called him Mark Dagnalt,
Oh.
and I said, "Whoa!" I said it's Dagnalt, and he was like, "What? What?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's what you're falling for the broadcast. The broadcast is saying it wrong." Which is such a disservice to Mark
Yeah.
that our own broadcast doesn't call him by the correct name, and so I had to stop. I stopped him and corrected him very early on in the show. But I wrote in my notes, make sure that Mark's name is pronounced correctly.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those moments. Like I just have these moments in my life where I just have to I have to do it, and I just had to do it.
That's brownie points with Mark, big time.
Brownie points
Yeah.
and power move on low, which is
It's
awesome.
I had to establish power. early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I'm the alpha,
You
Zach.
were incorrect. It is this.
Select here.
And he did, and he said it right the rest of the way.
Yep.
Which was great.
So since the last content you got from this content or this podcast thread, the Tyler Parker, the Thunder did play and really handled the Pacers
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
without much difficulty for the entire.
They outpaced them. That's what the Thunder emailed me.
directly.
They yeah, I've said this.
Hey,
about-
Luke. I don't know if you caught the game.
We outpaced them.
We saw you're going on a tour of basketball around the world. We just want to let you know the Thunder outpaced.
Just keeping me up to date.
they were up 17-1 within just like a couple minutes of the game starting. They were just on fire. And I've said this on a lot of different platforms already, but they carried themselves differently when they walked out onto the court to start the game. Like you could see like, oh, we're going to kill these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. They just were like strutting onto the court. You're like, oh, this looks different. This is interesting. Like, how's this going to play out? And their defense to start the game was outrageous.
It felt like one of those, and I think you're alluding to this as well. It felt like one of those first games where they didn't come into it as the quintessential underdog.
And they weren't an
Yeah.
underdog in that
For
game.
sure. I think they were favored by 3.5 or
Yeah.
something like that whenever they're coming to the game. But it's this balance that they're going to have to strike where they're not reading their press clippings enough to where they come into a game arrogant,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but come into a game confident.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the way this DNA is kind of has been created, I don't think that's really how they will function. That's one of the things I was talking about last week, about what I can see the ceiling of this, at least the way they're playing right now, which I know
Mhm.
changes. This will not seemingly be a team that comes into a lot of games over expectant of themselves. Like you
Mhm.
remember those old Thunder, and everybody does this, where
Yeah.
they show up against teams that are inferior and they just don't play. And a lot of the Thunder have benefited from those games even earlier in the season from other teams. Boston being the one that
Yeah.
sticks out.
All the Westbrook teams post.
Yes, it was
MVP
always
year.
a struggle because
Yeah.
they would
Yes.
always underperform against the worst teams in the NBA. And
Mhm.
at least now, which this obviously could change as they continue to kind of ascend that mountain of success. I think that it's one of the things you watch that it was a different demeanor
Yeah.
against the Pacers where
Yeah.
they did come in. And that's what I think is most changed about Giddey
Oh my gosh.
is he walks in like, oh, I'm doesn't matter who you're going to put on me. I'm going to score. I'm going to pass. I'm going to rebound, and nobody's going to stop me.
Yeah.
He's gotten a little fiery lately.
He also fouled out in that game.
He fouled out and the crowd went berserk. They were like almost proud of him for fouling out. It was
He
really
does
funny.
feel like one of those players that fouling out is a good thing for him.
They were excited.
Did you see that? This was a few weeks ago, but he commented on an attractive woman's Instagram, like a
Mhm.
model's
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
He's feeling himself,
He's definitely
he's
feeling
feeling
a
himself.
lot of confidence.
and
that guy.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's real good. When you're confident enough, and I think he just put, I think it was an emoji, just emoji on her thing. I can look.
I think he
but-
said nice uniform or something.
Nice
Yeah,
uniform.
nice
She was in a
uniform.
swimsuit.
not
Yeah.
quite not quite Giannis level of
No,
Yeah, direct.
not,
Yeah.
not that direct, but still,
Not just
it, but
putting
but still,
eggplants in
it
comments.
was not a DM. It was on her post. He knows everyone can see that.
Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that
He's
was
like-
very intentional.
it is a weird thing. I don't know what happened, but sometime around Christmas, like
Yeah.
the whole world changed for him. And he's just like, oh, he basically turned into Andrew Schlecht on the low post.
Right. Super confident, asserting power
Yeah.
everywhere, here and there.
Correcting reporters.
Since December 16th, they're the fourth best team in net rating. Since
Wow.
January 1st, they're the best team in net rating.
So I think going back to hopefully this team stays confident and doesn't become arrogant.
Yeah.
I think there's a good possibility that they do just stay confident and build more confidence without it turning into a negative arrogance
Yeah.
because of the way that they're winning, right? It's such a team effort every night, like a deep team effort. It's not like Durant and Westbrook outscoring teams
Yeah.
and then you guys just, cover your guys,
It's like
get
almost-
blocks at the rim, whatever.
Yeah.
This is like a full offensive team, and then everyone's performing on defense too. Even Shea, the number one guy, is trying hard on
They
defense.
had 41 assists on 47 made shots
That's
Mhm.
in
incredible.
that Pacers game.
Yeah.
And like
it
that's
was a record. It was
yeah,
a record.
a Thunder record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
They gave him an
great.
extra one
Look at
after.
this guy.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. Yeah, they gave him one late. Because I had already put out there like all the stats, and I was like, oh, 40 assists, that's crazy. And I walk back to the media area, and then I sit down, and it's like, oh, there's 41. I was like, it's great. It's crazy.
Who corrects that? Do you think it was
Uh,
Sam ran down?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
You got to
counted
count this
41.
J-Dub one as
Actually,
a.
yeah, I
Kenrich
don't know.
Williams had career high assist 10, which is crazy. You don't ever think of him being that guy, but he was awesome.
He was so good.
And that's Dagnall has said it in the past. I can't remember what the comment was toward, but he was just like, yeah, Kenrich is not going to allow that to happen, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the guy that continues to create that hunger. Now, everything can change. Like I said, we're in those good old days where they're young, they're having a good time. Everything can change. Like
George
egos.
hitting his shots.
Somebody asked this question, and I'm not sure where it is, but I'll come to it here in just a minute. But asking the question, okay, so this is from @20 or 2 Salt and Light. Other than injury, what can derail the Thunder's master plan for sustained success? It's been
the master plan for sustaining sex.
And the title run in Oklahoma City with this spot. I haven't had a mistake like that since Luke has been gone, man.
Oh,
man. And
find out.
Well,
Gutter.
This is all the part of a master
part of the
plan.
plan.
this is really derailed here. For me, is what I would answer that question. This is
Take these pills, man. We must sustain.
They're changing the name of the arena to Blue Chew Arena. I wonder why is that? It's a part of our master plan.
The Thunder Blue Chew is the G League team now.
No wonder.
Go down.
It's no wonder Giddy's so confident.
Yeah.
Going down to the Chew tonight.
So what I was trying to say is, I think, and it's even worse when I give you my answer, is I think that the arrogance that they could develop could ultimately impact their long-term master plan
Yeah,
for success.
Well said.
Thanks.
that's good. I mean, injury is definitely a huge thing because when we're talking about adding Chet to this team,
Yeah, we're already a little derailed.
yeah, they've
'Cause
already
he's
been,
already out.
yeah, they were derailed. Now we're railing again.
And you're just gonna throw another guy in the mix, huh?
And it's a part of the master plan. But for real, I do think that injuries is a part of that. But besides that, I don't know, because they do have this, the way it was described was collective confidence in each other, that it's not just one guy that's playing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have collective confidence in everybody but Trey Mann.
Trey Mann was not a part of it. The way I talked about it after the game was like everybody is in a band and everyone's playing the same song, and Trey Mann is like hiding in the corner away from the song.
Mm-hmm. It's different than how like Baisley would come out with a guitar and like solo in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's an
like,
orchestra
come on,
and
dude.
he's coming in wailing on
Right.
something.
And everyone's like, "What? This is not the composition."
Yeah, this is not it. Trey, in the fourth quarter, was just like, all right, game's over. Game's been over. He looked like he was avoiding shooting the basketball, which was just like, what? Like, wait a minute. Like, what's going on here?
This is so different than a couple weeks ago when we announced that Trey's back.
Yeah, he's gone again.
He's gone.
I think he had like O'Shea Brissett in front of him. And I was like, no, it was Isaiah Jackson. And I was like,
Cook him.
cook that guy. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
Yeah.
It was a one-on-one situation. There was no help defense to be seen. I was like, what are you not taking that step back? Like, what's going on here? And you know, that's just like a small footnote of this team, because the way that Isaiah Joe played and how confident he is and how like enmeshed in this group he is, it's like, wow. Like it doesn't really matter if Trey plays well or not, because they've got a guy that's doing what really
thought
they
Trey
wanted
would do.
Trey to do.
And you know what?
Took 12 threes. 12.
And
And
hit
you know what?
6 of them?
Seven.
7 of them.
When Lindy Waters has been getting minutes,
He's
been
better than Trey
good.
too.
Yeah.
Lindy's good, man.
He's not better than Trey. He's just more consistent.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes him ultimately better.
Well, and he does things on the defensive end that Trey.
Oh
can't
yeah,
do.
Lindy's been.
Yeah.
That's actually been a surprise of him. He's had a couple good blocks.
Oh, yeah.
He gets in the way. Like he's a try harder man,
He
which is
is.
good.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that the thing about Trey that's so challenging It feels, and I know there are so many different aspects of this. Trey feels a little Terrence Ferguson-y. Not in the personal stuff that derailed Ferguson, and not in the way they play.
Yeah,
they're so different.
Yeah,
but just in the like how
that role, having trouble finding that fit in that role.
And how completely out of it they just oscillate from, where they're like contributing. Hey man, there's maybe something there to. Oh my gosh, is this guy? He doesn't need minutes because the way he played against the Pacers, you're like, there's not a guy on the roster that I would rather sit than Trey, right? Like I want Wiggins to play. I want Joe to play. I want Jing to play. I want JRE. You know, these guys, I know they're injured, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He's the one you have the least amount of confidence in on the floor. And so which is hard because he's also somebody I'd mentioned, this is 3 weeks ago, but he has a unique potential skill set that could really unlock a whole different level with this team.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's less and less encouraging to think that he's ever going to get to that consistently.
Yeah, I mean, because the fact that he can handle the ball, pretty good passer. Like there's a lot there with Trey. He just has to figure it out.
Talented man,
very very talented man. Okay, I think it's time. L-Man,
guys, I got news. L-Man's deep dive is dead.
No,
it's gone. But now I'm introducing a new segment that I don't have a name for yet, but I will come up with one, or we will come up with one eventually.
Glorious.
I've been providing Taylor with a lot of knowledge throughout the years. He's come to me with questions. I've given him knowledge, and now it's my time.
Saved my marriage.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And so much more.
keeping his children alive.
Yes,
keeping his
them
children
alive
and thriving.
Yes,
I say.
thriving.
True.
And now it's my time. I'm going to spread the wealth to all of you. If you guys ask me a question for advice, I'm going to provide you that advice. And today I have my first, and it is Robert, who asks, L-Man, I'm going on my first resort Mexican vacation in March. Grand Vilas. How do I ensure I drink good, not watered down stuff? Also, I want to pace myself. I want relaxation and indulgence every second of the day. I just got back from a vacation in Mexico, so I'm well suited to provide this advice. First, it's so important if we know if this is all inclusive or not. Because if it is, the only way to guarantee it, you got to bring some dollar bills and do some tipping. That's how you're going to ensure it's not. You're getting the best of the best. Second, to enjoy every second of every day, that starts at breakfast. Is my opinion. Starts at breakfast.
Totally agree.
And it is the most important meal of the day. Specifically, it's the most important drinking meal of the day.
Oh,
I want to introduce you guys to, if you're having brunch or breakfast, the Three Amigos. That is water, coffee, and a Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary can be substituted for mimosa, but I don't do that. They provide you hydration for the day, energy, and alcohol. Those three things are what you need to keep in balance all day long. And that's where it starts at breakfast.
True. Wow.
The Bloody Mary needs to be a little bit spicy, because that means you can't drink it too fast. Got to take your time. And then you just
keeps you in check.
You need
to visit
booby traps.
You need to visit all three of the Amigos equally. Yeah, but it's at any pace you want.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And the other thing is avoid Red Bull vodkas. They will leave you wide awake, staring at the ceiling at 4 a.m., sweaty, unable to sleep, with nothing to look forward to, but a tomorrow filled with difficult. Sorry,
we are having a tough.
Nothing to look forward to, but a tomorrow filled with difficult, stinky craps. So instead, you should go for his classy cousin, the espresso martini.
Oh,
and then you're good.
Wow.
And then you're good. And using that, putting those into effect, you will have a great vacation.
Wow.
That is my advice.
That's great advice.
That was beautiful.
I'm going to set up more.
We get questions.
That's good.
Yeah. I think we need recorded messages.
That's what we're eventually
Oh,
gonna
no.
try to do. That's what we're eventually
I
gonna try
love
to
it. Let's go.
we do. Hey, I'm Teshawn. This is my fidget digit. I've been feeling nostalgic lately, so I want to go back. The Thunder now are in. We're full
The good
swing
old days.
Thunder 2.0.
Yeah.
Full swing. We're like in it.
Yeah, we're in it.
So I'm feeling a little nostalgic on Thunder 1.0.
Okay.
So I want to talk about maybe the first really memorable Thunder game that you guys went to. It could be the very first Thunder game you went to. It could be all the way back to like Chris Paul rookie season Thunder game. So for example, Hornets, right?
Yeah.
But that counts for me, right? So the first game I went to that was memorable was in Chris Paul's rookie season. I think I was in 7th grade. And I just really remember Speedy Claxton. Didn't know who that was. Claxton.
Didn't they do?
Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, they did. And wasn't really into basketball, but I remember going to the game. Then when I really got into basketball was 2008, 2009 season.
Mm-hmm.
And they played the Lakers. Lakers were here.
Yeah.
And I watched
Playoffs?
Kobe. No, that was 10.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
This
Sorry.
is just a regular season game.
Okay.
Kobe was playing and I watched Kobe live and I was like, oh my God, this is what basketball is.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what like really started my passion for basketball.
Yeah. David West.
David West. They were actually better back then than they are now.
Well, it's a different organization.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that, but that's true.
What do you mean?
Well, I just have always thought it's like, yeah, that's just like, that's totally right. Okay. You're absolutely right.
That's why I don't understand the mixing of the two, but
You know what was wild about that? So I worked in a restaurant, little family-owned restaurant here, not my family, but somebody's family, here in Oklahoma City, and just things I didn't even realize.
Somebody's family owned every
Do you remember-
restaurant.
Do you remember the GM of the Hornets back then?
Jeff Bauer.
Yeah, so Jeff Bauer and their head medical guy would come into the restaurant all of the time.
Wow.
And so I would just like chat with Jeff Bauer and this
That's
guy
pretty cool.
all of the time. And it never, not like it is now where I would like panic and start trying to like influence, like, so tell me about this,
Right.
Sam, or whatever. But it was just like, he just was a dude. I knew so little about the fullness of an organization that I do now, which so
Yeah.
much of that's obviously podcast related and different things like that. But he just would come in all the time. He's super nice and they were great and always really, they tipped well and all of those
nice.
different things.
Oh,
But
yeah. That's why you're chatting about
yeah,
it.
so yeah, I was really working that. But my first, so if you go back to that, there was actually a game that I went with a few friends and Gilbert Arenas came and played. I think the game went to overtime. David West hit like a jump shot to send him in overtime.
Classic.
But Gilbert Arenas was
He was awesome.
watching him play. I was like, this is the best offensive player I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Because what's that? 2003?
Oh,
Hibachi.
gosh, man.
No.
I mean, they weren't here then.
It was like
6, 7.
Yeah, 6'7",
1998.
5'6", 6'7", I think.
Yeah. So anyway, and that was
yeah.
probably the first time watching an NBA game, because I watched an NBA game when I was a kid, but it was the Dallas Mavericks versus the Minnesota Timberwolves in Kevin Garnett's rookie year.
Oh man, that was
They were both horrible teams.
yeah.
horrible teams. But anyway, and then I watched OKC Cavs games back in the day, which
Yeah.
is I don't even know what league that was, but it was so bad.
Yeah.
Minute Bull was there though, which is kind of fun.
That is fun.
That was about it. And so if I was going to say like the first Thunder memory, I don't actually remember going to a lot of games when they just got here, but I do remember when they introduced just like stupid stuff, like when they introduced Rumble and he like came rappelling down from the rafters the
Yeah.
first, as first season.
You
somewhere.
cried?
Just weeping,
Yeah.
weeping.
So
One of the first
beautiful.
ones, this is,
He's
we're in
flying.
trade season, but one of the first like real memories where I knew I was sold on this team was all of the way that they utilized Twitter back in the day to the Brewingtons, all of that stuff where they just,
Yeah.
they endeared themselves to the fan
Well, it feels like
base.
J-Dub right now, who's got his YouTube channel with he's got 1,700 views on his
yeah
videos,
it's so
you know?
so beginning level, or like
Yeah.
entry level. And then I remember being way too excited about the Kendrick Perkins
Oh my
trade.
gosh, dude.
Yeah.
I
That was kind of the
I was
pivot
in the
point.
building when he played his first game, and when they announced him in the starting lineup, you just felt like, oh my gosh, we have a team.
Yeah.
Like we have a real team that is going to like really do and they did. Like they were amazing after they traded for Perk. But when they announced him in the starting lineup, it did like everything just felt different.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories, and this wasn't that early on, was Elman. You and I were at that Clippers game 5. We were doing Down to Dunk at the time. We did the Conversation where we did the podcast before in the car, just like recording on my phone. And then after the game, we were like, and we'll tell you what happens after the game, which is like a really bad way to do a podcast. But anyways, we did it anyways.
It's actually awesome.
And afterwards, I mean, people were leaving because the Thunder were down pretty big, down like toward the end of the fourth quarter. And then they ended up pulling it off. It's Chris Paul had his collapse. I can't remember who was it, like was it Matt Barnes? Like somebody was driving the lane and then the ball went out of bounds, and it really should have been Clippers ball, but they gave it to the Thunder, and Doc Rivers is losing his mind.
Well, that was on the Reggie Jackson play.
Yeah, it was on the Reggie Jackson play. And then you have like the classic Westbrook's at the free throw line shooting 3 free throws when Chris Paul fouls him, and Durant's sitting down on the other side of the court facing the opposite direction. There's a photo of it, and he can't even watch it.
That was like the game.
We were going berserk during that game. It was so fun. We were like hugging strangers, and it was just like, I cannot believe it, because it was a pivotal game. Like whoever won that game was probably going to win the series.
Yep.
And it looked like the Thunder were going to lose that game. I had a friend that left that was like listening to it on the radio as he drove home.
That's a bad moment for a fan.
It's a bad moment. But Luke and I stayed, and then we got in his car afterwards, and we're just like screaming.
So I rewatched that not too long ago. Pardon me. And one of the things that I forgot, so I think it's Blake Griffin's at the line. Kind of the first thing that starts this whole thing is Blake Griffin's on the line. He can make it like an 8-point game or something like that. Makes the first one, then misses the second one, but then Glenn Big Baby Davis gets the rebound.
Gets the offensive
Serge
board.
doesn't block him out.
Yes. And you just felt like
that was it.
And that was
That was
probably
it.
the moment where my friend is like, all right, I'm out of here.
I know.
Like, this
that
is
was
over.
it. And,
yeah.
Man, that was a fun one. But obviously the finals run, the Western Conference finals run, those are all fun moments. Like I remember having, this is my wife. We had, it was the Maverick series where they're playing them in the Western Conference finals.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, let's have some people over. We'll cook, I'll cook burgers. We could have people over. And I set up a TV. It was beautiful outside. So I set up a TV outside, and we're watching the game on my back patio. This is before I lived where I live now. It's where I was Taylor's neighbor.
Where do you live now? Will you give us your address?
Yeah, come on over.
No, to the pod listeners, please.
No.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm watching that game, and I don't know if y'all remember how much you remember that series, but that was the Thunder had gigantic leads in almost every one of those games.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, I think, game 5 maybe, and they were up 20 points, and I watched it just
painful.
And I was so mad that my wife told me, she told me, you don't get to have Thunder watch parties at our house anymore.
If you're gonna act this way, you can't have friends over.
You know what was crazy about that series is you just watched it and you had to accept, oh, this is just fate. Like, this is Dirk's destiny year.
It was. You're right.
Like, you just had to accept it. It's like, there's nothing.
And they were still young enough that year that you didn't feel like so much pressure, because like Durant was 22.
Yeah. We still had 5 championships in
Westbrook
the bag,
was 22. Ibaka was 21. Harden was 21. You kind of felt like they shouldn't be doing this anyway.
Once again, playing with house money.
Yeah.
Gosh, they were so young.
Because 21.
I know. That's
the age that Poku is right now. They were in the Western Conference Finals.
What was that? Durant's 3rd year in the league, though?
I don't think so.
That was 11, so 4th year.
4th year.
Because Sonic's rookie year.
Yeah.
Because I remember
How would he be?
From that time, I remember like going through each playoff year, and I don't remember if this is exactly right, but like the first one's like we were against the Grizzlies and they won, and then we beat them the next year and we beat Dallas beat us, and then we beat them, and the Lakers beat us, and then each year we'd like move up in rank.
Yeah.
That's probably not.
It
the
was
correct
really just
teams.
3 years.
But
They
we just
lost
moved
the-
up every single year, and it's like this. It just felt like we're gonna win everything.
The
I
next
know.
step
Like
is
the next
winning.
step, we win, and
Yeah.
then we never stop winning.
I know it felt like that.
We
'cause-
thought we'd be the Warriors. What the
Yeah.
Warriors?
well, they
ended up
they
being.
beat
the Lakers.
the
They beat the Lakers.
The Lakers beat them in 6 games, and you felt like, oh my gosh, because I thought they'd get swept. Honestly,
And that was when, after the game ended, which was Pau Gasol
That-
got
we'll put
the
that.
rebound.
Collison.
Yeah, and put it back in to win the game.
Yeah,
And then the Thunder fan base just gave them a
Stood
standing
up and-
ovation.
yeah, everybody.
Then the
was
next
just
year,
happy.
they
Yeah.
throttled the Lakers.
Yeah.
And that was the play where the penultimate play was Russ gets fouled on the fast break and just throws
Throws
it
it
up.
up.
Throws it up
And he does
from-
this
yeah.
like punch.
And he
towards
just
the-
keeps running.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like,
He was like, yeah.
And then so they did. It was it was like they won that one, then they lost somewhere. I think the Spurs probably. Then they beat the next year. They beat Mavericks. Or am I messing up the? No,
Well,
they lost the year
they lost to the eventual champion
every year
the first 2
Yeah.
years, and then they made it to the finals themselves.
and lost
the
to the
next
eventual
year.
champion.
And they lost to the champion
yeah.
in the finals. But yeah, they lost to the Mavericks. They lost to the Lakers, who won the title. They lost to the Mavericks, who went and won
Yeah.
the title, and then they got to the finals.
And that step up, it was just like this. We're gonna be awesome forever. This
Yeah.
is gonna be
Yeah,
the
and that was
best.
John Hollinger was still working for ESPN, and he said something to the effect of like, "Should we just book recurring hotels?
to
Like,
Oklahoma
hey,
City.
we'll let you know. We'll be back here next June."
And then
All right. Well, this
this
derailed.
got really sad.
Yeah, thanks a
I
lot,
was trying
Taylor.
to be positive. If you guys took it there.
Okay, our first Twitter
Well,
question.
hold on.
No,
hold on. We got to play your song first.
Oh, I thought you were playing.
No.
Should we take a break first?
Yes, we should. We're going to take a break.
Break.
Break. I should make that a drop.
Break.
I'm about to break.
Oh, cool.
Break. Okay. All right. Now it's time for some Twitter questions.
Shut up! Twitter questions. You got questions and you ask them on Twitter.
I don't like this part.
Now we answer them for you. This is Twitter questions. Now let's get down to it. Our first Twitter question comes from at Thunder Dustin, who wants to know, what is your new over-under for Thunder wins this season?
So what did they start the season at? 27?
23.
23. And they're going to blow that to pieces.
Yeah.
They could get there tonight.
Is it crazy not to think that they could do? So here's the starting point. Do they finish the season 500 or better? So
that's
41
something.
wins?
That's something. I would say over under 35 and a half.
Over.
That's a good number.
Because I mean, if they're healthy the rest of the way and everything goes well, like you could say over.
Yeah, I'm choosing dumb and going 500.
Then Chet comes back.
Yeah.
We'll play 20 games.
Yeah. When Chet's 25 games at the end.
But I think Stephen Dolan put out there that if he doesn't play but just plays in the playoffs, he can still qualify as a rookie next year.
I got a little excited.
He's not coming back. That's not happening.
Yeah, right, man.
I was like,
You just
after
keep
I
holding
read that, I
close
thought
to
I
your
took a
vest,
blue
man.
chew.
It's not happening. Yeah.
So
Blue Chew Arena.
I do think I am
That's
incredibly.
Miami's next arena name,
Yeah,
probably.
for real.
I'm intrigued by this next 5-game run for the Thunder because the competition gets a lot better. They play the Kings tonight, then the Nuggets, the Hawks, the Cavs, and the Warriors. If they come out of this 3-2, then I think they can reach 500 because that means they're going to beat playoff teams, like good teams that are actually healthy. In theory, I think the Kings don't have Sabonis, but you're looking at the Nuggets, obviously the best team in the West right now. The Warriors are still the Warriors. Watching that game last night, like they're full strength. Cavs, obviously, all these different games. And I don't know. If they finish that, if they surprise us the way that they just did,
Yeah.
then I don't know. Maybe they don't lose again.
They might not.
So
Also, they can beat those good teams.
okay, so here's the test.
They have.
Here's
And
the
they
test.
will.
And they will.
Here's their next 5 games. At Sacramento tonight. At Denver. Back at home. Atlanta, Cleveland, Golden State. How many of those 5 do you think they win?
I think they win Sacramento. I think they lose Nuggets. I think they win Atlanta.
Lose Nuggets.
Lose Nuggets. They win Atlanta. What are the other 2?
Golden State.
Golden State,
and
Cleveland.
Are both those home?
Yeah. The last 3 are at home.
I think they lose to Cleveland and beat Golden State. Calling it.
Golden State stinks on the road.
I think they beat Golden State. Let's do it.
So they assigned Ousmane Dieng to the G League,
The Blue Chew.
the D League, the G League.
G League. You had it.
Every time, I know.
You're doing
I
great.
just question
You're doing
myself.
great.
Thank you so
Stop.
much.
Come on, Jay.
So he's recovering from his injury. You've got JRE that's surely in the next week or 2.
Not weak.
Really?
Not weak. Mark said he's still not at like day to day yet.
That's crazy. And then I don't know how long is Poku still out? A couple weeks.
Oh, I don't think Poku's going to play.
The rest of the year?
He is
All right,
still on
well,
crutches. He's still on
You
crutches.
just ruined my entire morning.
Dude, he looks so sad. I've seen him out there. I've seen him. He doesn't really come out into like the bowl of the arena very much, but I saw him a couple times and he looks so sad. So sad. He's just wearing just giant green sweats and just with these like weird crutches.
He's probably so mad or upset because he had to pay so much money for specially made crutches. Think
That's
how
true.
long they'd have.
They're giant and they're not regular looking crutches. They're like
Yeah.
curvy.
I saw him too.
Yeah.
They look like a sickle. And then he's got like big handles that he can kind of, anyway, they are giant. I bet
I
they're,
thought you were saying they look like big.
no.
Sickles.
And
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know that for sure. I would not have expectations for Poku because like his leg is still very broken. And he didn't have surgery, which I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know.
I don't even know. Can you have surgery on that kind of
I
break?
have no
I don't
idea. I
know.
know nothing.
Not a doctor.
I know nothing about
I
bones.
don't know anything about my bones.
Damn it, Jay, I'm a podcast host, not a
So I
doctor.
I bet JRE comes back post All-Star break then.
I would, yeah, that seems more reasonable.
So anyway, then everything I was saying has no relevance. So who
But-
knows
but
what-
they're winning right now. They don't need those guys.
I understand that, but I'm just asking.
They're
like,
deep as hell.
But the question
my
is, somebody
gosh.
else asked that question. I don't know if I put it in the podcast, but these guys that were getting significant minutes now
Yeah.
are not getting any minutes.
Yeah.
So is there a correlation to their play or lack thereof that has led to this success?
Yeah, I mean, like you look at on-offs, like the guys who have very positive on-offs, Isaiah Joe, Lindy Waters, Mike Muscala, Shea, Trey Mann still does for some reason. Kenrich is a +2, Dort's a +1. Wiggins is basically net 0. And then like Jeremiah was like a -6 when he played. Some of that's just the starting lineup just stunk. Giddy and J-Dub were minus, and then Poku was a -19
What?
on the season. Yeah.
That does not
Pass the eye test.
Yeah, that does
He's
not go
he's
with
definitely better. Like I this number doesn't mean that like he is a terrible player. Like he's gotten a lot better and has helped. Like he helped them win games.
But he was a part of all those brutal
The starting lineups,
lineups.
and that's the difference here with Kenrich starting. Is I think that they found something with Kenrich as the starter. He helps put pressure on both ends because he can help quarterback the offense and the defense, and he does. Like he's very vocal. He helps those guys a lot. And so I just wonder if they've just found something with that group and you just keep going. Like if you want to make the play in, that's your group. Those are your guys. And I think subbing Jeremiah for like J Will, even like J Will's played better.
Yeah.
But
He's
subbing,
looked like an NBA guy.
yeah,
Early on, it was like, no.
yeah, it was bad. But subbing Jeremiah for him, I think, would help. I think Jeremiah's a better player than he is. And
Well, and he's also far more confident. I mean, I would be far more confident from him to stretch the floor.
yeah,
Jerry's like a good 3-point shooter.
yeah, and he'll take more than Jay will. And you have Jang coming back. Like he just has like a small wrap on his wrist now. And like he was in like full workout gear in the locker room the other night. And so he's ready to go. And
So you'll get him for probably 3 to 4 weeks before he breaks his wrist again.
that seems to be the timeline. Yeah, no, that he's an interesting one that could hurt more than he helps because he is so young, still learning the game.
They're
Yeah,
playing.
Man, he tries really hard though.
He does. He could help. He could end up being good.
They're playing so well, though. I know I'm about to start be a little bit more impatient with.
I know.
You know, like players that are like at the start of the season.
floor.
Yeah, at the start of the season, it's
Yeah.
like,
Well-
no, get these guys minutes, get these guys minutes, get these guys minutes, and now I'm like,
It's expectations,
No,
man.
it's
It changes
okay.
everything.
Well, Mark is impatient now too. Like he called 2 timeouts. What game was that? That was like 2 or 3 games ago. Where he called 2 timeouts in the first quarter.
both teams were just going back and forth with timeout.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm out of
Yeah.
here. Yeah, so it was.
It was the Nets game.
Yes,
Yes.
it was Nets.
It was
game.
against the Nets. They looked like really sluggish to start the
Yep.
game, and he
And in the second, either the second half or the second quarter, but he came out and he's like
nope.
12 seconds in, he called a timeout or something like that.
I love when Mark gets upset like that. It's the best. It's so
And he calls
funny.
the timeout because timeouts in the NBA are so strange because the coaches all go away from the team,
Mhm.
do a little huddle, and then come back to the team.
Yeah.
So Mark makes this like
Mhm.
emphatic timeout
Yeah.
as he's walking to the middle of the lane, just completely frustrated. Like
Yeah.
you can just see he's like there is no hiding his emotions
Yeah.
in that moment. You know,
Yeah.
he's a great coach, man.
He is. I really like him.
That's great. He really is. If they make the playoffs, which 538, one of their assessments has them finishing with 43 wins and being like 5th in the West.
Oh my God.
So if like something like that happened, Mark would have to win Coach of the Year, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that like the jump that like back in the day the Thunder did, where that one season they were so bad and they just jumped up and like they
Yeah,
were
Brooks
they won-
won the 50 wins.
they won 50.
If they can do that,
It's just as impressive.
That
I
would be
might-
next year, right?
I'm- no, this year.
No, I'm saying 50 wins.
No, yes, that's where I was going. Is like next year, I would pick them to win 50.
Yeah.
Because you had Chet, you had more experience. Like Giddey's
Yeah.
going to be in his 3rd year.
If they get 500 this year, is what we're saying.
If they get to 500 this year, like why could they not do that?
Yeah, they're going to
Totally.
get the Clippers lottery pick.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be something? I just don't feel like I can.
It'd be
I don't feel
something.
like I can go to either place right now. If talking about matchups in the playoffs play in, like I just
Mhm.
can't do it yet, just
Yeah.
because we don't know if that's going to happen,
Yeah.
and I can't do the Clippers.
That would be so freaking fun.
I can't do the Clippers pick swap yet.
It's
either.
called
So-
counting your chickens before they hatch.
So
That's right.
at Frozen
That's
Oki does exactly that. It says making the playoffs, but still getting a lottery pick by beating the Clippers in the play in the new dream scenario.
My God.
It's like we don't talk about the dream
I
scenario.
don't talk about
We've
it.
done that once. It was a failure.
The
The only
Clippers-
the
it's a
only good dream
nightmare.
scenario was the one Lively made.
Yes,
It was still pretty good.
and we got the second pick with it. I was nervous that we were making something called the dream scenario
Like the
and
eighth
thinking that it would
pick.
not.
Great,
Be
we got
good.
Johnny Davis.
But we'll have to make some more dream scenarios soon, so that we just put it out there.
If the Thunder make the playoffs, I will lose it.
You might lose it.
I'm losing it right
If they
now.
make the playoffs, people better show up to the freaking arena.
I
I
think
was
Yeah.
so let down by the turnout on Wednesday night.
I was too.
Yeah.
I was part of why I was excited to go is like I thought the crowd would be good. There was like an entire section of the lower bowl that had nobody there, and it was facing away from the cameras, so like you couldn't see it really. But there was like one whole section of everybody gone.
I
Like
think it takes a while to get around that. Like, okay, we're getting good.
Yeah.
like we're starting to, the podcast is starting to talk about it, and people
Yeah.
are like in
The murmuring is
NBA
there,
people
yeah.
are going to start talking about NBA
Yeah.
fans are going to start talking. And then
like
it's
it'll be next year.
yeah,
it'll
next
be
year.
next year. It's
Yeah.
like it's gonna. It
Dude,
just
here's
takes a little
what's
bit to get
kind of awesome is so I've got a friend that has good tickets, and I told him, I was like, hey, like let's set a date where we can go together. And he was like, all right, he only did half a season, but here's the games you can go to. And one of them was the Warriors game. And I think it's March 9th or something like that. Last year, if you were waiting till March to go and watch this team live,
Bro,
there's a chance you're going to be watching the worst
So
basketball you've
true.
ever played.
Galakakis.
We got the best seats I've ever had, not ever had, but best seats I've had in a long time last year, but it was none of the starters played.
Right.
None of the team played. It's like, but now I'm going to go see like that. That's like a team's positioning for the playoffs or fighting for the playoffs style game against the Warriors.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
March 9th, starting lineup. They still had Shea. What in the world? Shea had 8 points in that game. It was Shea, Wiggins, Lindy, Darius, Roby was the starting lineup. Shea was 2 of 15 in that game.
Good
0 of 4
game.
from 3. It just feels like impossible now.
I know.
That just feels absolutely impossible. And they got just destroyed by the Timberwolves. Malik Beasley, I remember this game now. Malik Beasley had 11 threes in that game. Do you remember that?
And then they traded him away.
Yep. Just really worked out.
Oh, that's great.
Hey guys, let's move to our next Twitter question. It comes from @ThunderDustin, who wants us to predict the starting lineup for next season.
It's the $1 million question, man.
$1 million?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you if you answer it correctly.
Shea, Giddy, J-Dub, Dort, and Chet.
Yep. Yeah, Dort has been awesome.
Dort was great in that game. I mean, I think he was the best player for the Thunder.
Yeah.
Against the Pacers.
Any of those that would be debatable.
It just depends.
J-Dub?
No. J-Dub is there, man.
That is a great starting five.
Yeah, that's the starting five. And I mean, it also depends on what happens in the draft. Like if you're in the lottery again and something crazy happens, then it could change. Like if they somehow got the number 2 pick, like you better believe Scoot Henderson will be starting for the Thunder.
Yeah.
And Dort probably goes to the bench.
Yep.
But
they're not going to get that.
Barring a crazy occurrence, that will be the starting lineup. And that is a really good starting lineup.
Yeah.
Like you're crazy versatile. Everybody can get to the hoop. Everybody can pass.
Your first 3 off the bench, Kenrich, probably Isaiah Joe. Who am I missing here?
I mean, so much
JRE.
of it, some of it is going to depend on like development. Like what does Usman Jang look like at the beginning of next year?
Yeah.
What does Poku look like when he comes back? You know, they need a scoring punch off the bench. And that's where like the idea of Trey Man, and Trey's going to get another shot, but he's going to have to really show up and play like he did at the very beginning of this season and the very end of last season. If he plays like that, I mean, you have a real player.
Yeah, I think the other thing you're going to get, though, is of the 5 you just listed, I would trust 4 out of the 5 to be able to carry the team as far as scoring for long stretches.
Yeah.
Who do you not trust?
Yeah.
The only one I wouldn't, I mean, he's done it, so it's probably not fair to even say that, but I
Lou.
don't love the way Lou would do that.
Yeah.
But if Shea subs out, you've got Giddy or J-Dub. If J-Dub and
You feel
Giddy
great about
like,
any of those guys handling the offense.
even not to mention like
Chet.
Chet, like he can bring the ball up. He can, initiate your
thing.
offense. He will initiate the offense.
It's a thing. Yeah.
But what's fun is to watch this team. I don't know how much it's so strange how I see this every time, but the way they attack a zone, and apparently everybody that they put at the free throw line just can drill a shot without, like Kenrich, Shea, Giddy, no matter who they ran, because the Pacers tried to go to a zone a few times, which historically used to really give the Thunder problem
because they couldn't pass.
And so they go like a high-low kind of, it's unbelievable. They just, you can't defend them with the zone and be successful for very long.
No. One of my favorite stats, my favorite Kenrich stats is since the middle of December, his shooting splits are 50-50-50.
The free throw one is wild.
Yeah. 50-50-50 was so funny when I saw it. But it's a thing.
He's been incredible. He's the catalyst for this whole reason it's changed.
He and Giddy playing the
for
way
sure,
that they've
for sure. That
playing
was,
the way that they've played
Giddy
has
and
definitely
Kimmich.
changed the trajectory
Shea.
of this team. I mean,
Yeah.
Shea was
And
already
J-Dub.
there.
And the whole team actually is the reason they've changed.
Collective
I gotta go
confidence.
to work.
Okay. See you, man.
It's good to be back.
Welcome back.
Dude, it's great to have you back. See you, Luke. Be careful getting to work.
You want to answer a few more TQs before we go?
Yeah, I made us late, so I'll keep us going here. So this one's from @BenElephantKing. Was Presti trying to tell us that this would happen with his comments about burning assumptions that OKC would punch above its weight this year, and he wanted fans to experience a home playoff game again? Did he know?
I don't know that he knew. I think that I don't know. My guess is that they don't know what this team is going to do year in, year out. Like, how could you know? Honestly, they're so young. There's so many different guys that need to hit a certain ceiling for you to be successful. It's like, how could you know? And I do think, and he talked about it, he's talked about this publicly quite a bit. It's like, they're not just going into a season just wanting to tank and just like, okay, we're going to tank from the outset. And people make those jokes and those assumptions from the jump. And it's like, listen, like, you can assume all these things that you want, but we don't know what they're going to do. We've put a really good system in place. We have the players. We have players that we like, and we're going to roll the ball out and see what happens. And like the games of consequence thing, I think that's a real thing for them. Is like, can we get to a place where we're playing games of consequence where we can actually grow as a team? And they're going to let them try to get there.
Yeah.
And they're getting there. I mean, I think that these games before the All-Star break are actually games of consequence now, because it's not an easy road right before. I mean, it softens up after that Golden State game. They play Houston twice, and they got Golden State, Lakers, Portland, New Orleans, Houston again. And that's all before the All-Star break. But it's really these next 5 games are maybe like the first games of consequence that you could have
Since the bubble.
Yeah, since the bubble, where it does feel like, okay,
This matters.
You can't lose all 5 of these games. You know, like last year, they would have probably lost all 5 of these games. Sacramento, Denver, Atlanta, Cleveland, Golden State. You probably lose all 5 of those at this point in the season last year. Now, I even have them, and I've kind of projected this. I have them only winning 1 of those games.
Okay.
But you can still get to 500 pretty easily after that. So like part of that was I'm being cautious with my predictions.
You have to be. That's the danger right now, man. His expectations are running rampant.
Yeah, because you can be like, oh, they're going to beat Sacramento, and they
easily could lose tonight.
They could beat Golden State, you know, because Golden State stinks on the road. It's like, yeah, sure, but also the Thunder are like right there with Golden State now, and the Golden State can't screw around anymore, and they didn't last night. I mean, they almost beat Boston in Boston,
and also simultaneously totally blew it.
It was amazing. That was an amazing game.
So much
I don't
fun.
know what their defense was doing with Jaylen Brown.
It was hard because I don't want to say this again for the 15th time. My wife and I started a movie.
My wife.
And she stopped. Like, we stopped at halfway. She went and did some stuff. And I turned on the Boston game. And it got to overtime. She's like, all right, I'm back. Let's finish this movie. And I'm like,
sorry.
Please. No, of course I finished the movie. And I'm like, well, I just follow it.
You're just on your phone. Yeah. No, it was... So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen from here. My assumptions have been burned. They're burned. They're burnt. Crispy. I don't know what's going to happen from here. The good thing is, if they make the playoffs, like, they're ahead of schedule, and they have 14 first-round picks to spend in the future. They have Chet coming back. You have Jang developing. You've got so many reasons to be excited. If they don't make the playoffs and they get like the 10th pick, we've seen what Sam can do. This draft is deeper than last year.
Yeah.
This draft is
KOC
really good.
Put out its big board yesterday.
Yeah.
Which
it's a wild one.
I know
it's a wild one. I like it. It's really weird. There's a couple guys that I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but I like the wildness of it. But yeah, this draft is really good. And if they got the 10th pick, you better believe that 10th pick would be a good player.
Yes, and I also am still of the mindset that they have 4 first-round picks next year that they can't use. Potentially. I know they're all protected, or not all of them, but the Houston pick's protected. Is it the Jazz pick? or the Heat. No, it's the Jazz. Top
So
10 protected.
they have the Clippers pick and their own. So they definitely have 2.
Yep.
And then it's Utah protected 11
and then Houston
or
protected
1 through
4.
10 and then 1 through 4. So they could have potentially
I can
4
see
first
both of
rounders.
those landing. Like I could see Houston getting right outside of the top 4.
Without a doubt. Houston wants to be good next year.
Yes.
Which is
so I
hilarious.
just think that they have the assets, and this is the point. Like if Sam sees the guy 2 picks ahead of where he is, and he did this last year with Jing, like or with Jalen Williams, like how many guys he traded 3 picks to get 2 or to get 1?
Yeah, 3 picks so he could pick twice.
So it was like you obviously could see him do that. I think the challenge for Thunder fans at this point is to just keep your expectations low.
Yeah, I mean,
don't panic and start assuming, because I'm literally preaching to myself in this moment, because I'm like, I'm going to watch that game tonight,
and if they lose,
I'm going to be very mad.
Sabonis is questionable.
That would be helpful because Sabonis is going to have like 30 and 30 against this team.
This is still the youngest team in the NBA.
Yeah.
That has not changed. And their rotation is about to get younger with Jang coming back. You can see the way that they played recently and you can project out, but I'd be careful. And just know that if they're in the lottery again, like you can't be that disappointed.
No.
Like if they end up winning like 33 games and they're in the lottery again, that is a huge step forward. And you have so much.
Although if they won 30 games, they would only win 6 out of their next however many.
33. Yeah. 9. It would feel disappointing.
Yeah,
definitely.
It would be.
It would feel disappointing, but giving yourself a chance in the lottery, great. I mean, Memphis and the Pelicans got into the top 3 in about that same spot.
Yep.
I mean, the Bulls got Derrick Rose when they were, I think, 9th or 10th or something like that. So like you just never know.
Well, yeah, and last year we saw, I think the Kings were the ones that jumped.
Kings were 7th
and they
jumped
Murray.
up. You don't know what's going to happen. Even if they're picking 10, like I still feel really good about who they could get at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be frustrating, but like you can't let yourself go there. You have to understand that like it's still a big range of outcomes that could happen. One, they actually do make the playoffs. I think the most likely thing is that they don't, but it's going to be fun. Like, next year there's like a good team waiting to play.
And it's one more year where a lot of these teams are going to get, like the Warriors have one more year of getting older. You're going to have the Clippers one more, like all these teams. The Nuggets are the ones that are going to be there for
Nuggets
a while.
will be there,
the Grizzlies
Pelicans,
for a while. The
Grizzlies.
Pelicans for a while.
That's going to be the battle. And then like, what do the Mavs do this summer too? Like, how do they actually get better?
There's nothing of their past that would make you feel any sort of confident in their roster building.
Like
they've always swung and missed on free agents.
Yeah, the free agent stuff is.
Do people want to play with Luka? It's a big question. Like he's so dominant.
I don't know.
So I do want to just give a quick shout out. We had 2 Discord questions. We actually answered these without calling them out, and so
call them out.
I guess not at, but JVB from Discord, and then David-19. Both of your questions. Thank you so much. Discord's the place to be if you're not jumping on there. You can find that link, I think, in our Twitter. I don't know where you can find the link. Discord.com.
I'll put it back out on our
We'll put it back out there. But that's where, and Alex is really, if you want to kind of converse with him, that's where he is. So I want to ask just a couple more. This is non-basketball related. Just a few of our fun Twitter questions. So first one's from @Alex_BowlerJack, who asked the question, if you could have the hair of anyone in the history of the NBA, whose would you have and why?
Oh, in the history of the league, I mean, Josh is pretty good.
I know. That's really why I put this question in there, is because I love his hair. Bill Walton back in the day looked a little crazy. I kind of like that.
Yeah. Realistically, though, are you really wanting Bill Walton's hair?
No. I would really want Josh's hair.
It's Josh, right?
That's about it. I'm trying to think of like other famous hairstyles.
I mean, like Steve
NBA.
Nash, but like, no. Dirk.
Yeah.
Maybe Dirk.
Yeah.
But I'd still rather have Josh.
It's so
Josh's hair
It's
is-
so puffy.
It's great.
It's great hair. He's got great hair. It's gonna be his beard. You know, it's his thing.
It'll be here soon.
It's coming.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna have a shirt with just his hair.
Yeah.
That felt weird. All right. Last question comes from @Bangelope. Best thing to eat with hummus. Is it weird to answer pita bread?
No, it's very normal.
You're a veggie guy.
It's very normal.
Carrots.
Carrots.
I love hummus, man.
Yeah, hummus is fine. I'm not
What?
the biggest hummus guy. It's
You don't
fine.
have the good hummus, man. Here's the key with hummus is you
Yeah.
got to put other things with it. Like there's, I can't remember where it was, Jerusalem, maybe here in the city,
Yeah.
is you put a little red pepper chili, like red
Okay,
chili paste
yeah.
in it.
I just don't like the
Basil. I think it's basil.
I don't like the name hummus.
Hummus.
Bad name.
Why?
I don't know. There's just something about it I don't like.
Okay. It doesn't make any sense, but I'll take it. Yeah. Just something about the word. I just don't like
I
it.
don't like the word.
All right. Well, sorry guys. I didn't mean to
Um,
have this hummus slander. All right. So one last question. Andrew, are you miffed or are you peeved?
Miffed and peeved.
So I'm miffed and peeved at myself. So I'll
Uh-oh.
answer the question.
Yeah.
This morning, man.
Yeah, how dare you?
Listen, this is the second week in a row where I've overslept my alarm, but this one I actually have a built-in excuse. I use the alarm on my watch. So I put it on its charger and it has an alarm. I live in this unique dynamic where I have to have an alarm that can wake me up but not wake up the room, if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Oh,
okay?
yeah. I've got the same thing
So it's
going
like
on.
beep,
Yeah,
beep, beep,
for sure.
beep, 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 and,
You have but just on your watch.
yeah,
just
and it's
buzz.
it's actually a
Yeah.
great little
Yeah, yeah,
anyway. But apparently didn't charge my watch. So I put it on the charger, but it didn't like connect.
Oh no.
So I woke up this morning and my watch was dead, which means my alarm didn't go off. And
My
so mad.
watch.
Yeah, my watch. And actually, my wife was the one that came in.
My wife, my watch.
I mentioned her like 45 times. She's apparently a big part of my life. But she's like, "Did you oversleep?"
No.
Yes, and like sprinting out of the house. And,
Uh.
anyway, it's the worst. So I'm miffed at myself.
Yeah.
I'll be better. I'll be better, guys.
We got to sit here and look at a bunch of L-Man's pictures from his trip, so we missed out.
No, I don't know if I did. It's good to have him back.
Thanks so much for listening to our podcast. We'll be back on Monday. Might have another special guest next week, so stay tuned in. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go subscribe to YouTube. You can also go to theathletic.com/down to dunk and get The Athletic for $1 a month for 6 months and get this show ad free. So if you hate ads, you can listen to this show with no ads, which is great. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys again on Monday.